breaking news from Washington. U.S. President Donald Trump has announced new tariffs affecting 3 industries starting next week.
Canada, they were foolish to do it. So I said we're going to stop all negotiations with Canada right now until they straighten out their...
In today's economic landscape, where trade disputes are as subtle as a sledgehammer, U.S. President Donald Trump has just delivered a major blow to Canadian lumber and furniture producers. These newly imposed tariffs are sending shockwaves through both the U.S. and Canadian economies. This isn't just another policy tweak, it's a bold escalation in an already tense trade war. Wrapped in the shaky justification of national security, the claim that Canadian kitchen cabinets and bathroom vanities threaten American defense is frankly baffling. But the real story is in the fallout. Trump's strategy is starting to backfire, and Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney is exposing the flaws in this economic offensive with a calm and strategic approach, starkly contrasting Trump's chaos. On Truth Social, Trump announced that starting October 1st, a 100% tariff would hit branded or patented pharmaceutical products unless manufacturers move production to the U.S. Heavy trucks from overseas will face a 25% tariff, while kitchen cabinets and bathroom vanities are subject to duties of 50% and 30% respectively. Timber and lumber imports will carry a 10% tariff, with an additional 25% hike on cabinets and vanities. These measures, effective October 14th via presidential proclamation, are being justified under Section 232 of the Trade Act of 1974, with Trump arguing that these imports threaten U.S. national security. The idea that Canadian furniture or lumber could compromise U.S. defense is, at best, laughable. Yet Trump is doubling down, threatening even harsher tariffs, 30% on upholstered wooden products and 50% on cabinets and vanities by January 1st, 2026, if countries don't meet his demands. In response, Canada plans to reassess the agreement on its own terms in the coming months. The Canadian federal government has launched public consultations, inviting feedback from communities, lawmakers, and industry leaders as it prepares to renegotiate the Canada-US-Mexico Agreement, CUSMA. Prime Minister Carney recently met with Trump in New York, just as Washington slapped tariffs on pharmaceutical imports. In a public statement, Carney confirmed ongoing dialogue with the U.S., focusing on key strategic issues and describing their recent conversation as a high-level discussion. This is Trump's classic playbook: bully, threaten, and escalate. And Canada, as the U.S.'s top supplier of softwood lumber, is clearly in his crosshairs. Canadian producers already face a 35% burden in anti-dumping and countervailing duties due to a long-standing dispute over timber harvested from public lands. Now, Trump's additional 10% tariff brings the total cost to more than 45%. This is more than just economic punishment. It's trade warfare. Canadian lumber companies, already struggling, now face policies that could cripple their industry. Brian Menzies, Executive Director of the Independent Wood Processors Association of British Columbia, called the rationale ludicrous, noting that the industry is being unfairly portrayed as a national security threat. While the justification may be absurd, the consequences are very real. Trump's plan is unraveling quickly. His tariffs are driving up costs for American consumers and reversing a years-long trend of falling furniture prices. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, furniture prices rose 4.7% from August 2024 to September 2025, with living and dining room furniture jumping 9.5%. Before these tariffs, furniture prices had been steadily declining for over 2 years. Now, American families are paying more for everyday essentials, undermining Trump's own "Make America Great Again" promise. The U.S. housing market, already under pressure, is also feeling the heat. Lumber is a fundamental part of American home building, and 30% of softwood lumber comes from Canada. Industry experts warn that these tariffs will drive up construction costs, adding roughly $9,200 to the price of an average home. According to the March 2025 NAHB/Wells Fargo Housing Market Index, the U.S. lacks the capacity to replace Canadian lumber overnight, and Trump's move is choking a critical supply chain, deepening the housing affordability crisis. The U.S. business community is sounding the alarm. The U.S. Chamber of Commerce opposes these tariffs, saying Canadian lumber and furniture pose no real threat to national security, and warning that the duties will inflate construction costs, hurt paper exports, and lower incomes in wood processing regions. Even American industry leaders like Council President Kurt Nicodet have called the tariffs counterproductive, noting they'll hurt housing affordability and disrupt the vital trade relationship between the two countries. Shares of major furniture retailers like Wayfair, RH, and Williams-Sonoma have already dropped, with markets bracing for further fallout. Even some of Trump's allies are backing away, as the policy appears driven more by ego than sound economics. Meanwhile, across the border, Mark Carney is taking a different approach, one rooted in resilience and strategy. As Trump throws tantrums, Carney is quietly reinforcing Canada's economic defenses. He's announced up to $700 million in loan guarantees for forestry companies, $500 million in grants for product innovation and market diversification, and millions more to help lumber workers learn new skills. This isn't just crisis management, it's a strategic shift. 2/3 of Canadian lumber production and nearly 90% of exports go to the U.S., creating a risky dependency that Carney is determined to reduce. By boosting domestic capacity and exploring new markets, Canada is protecting itself from the unpredictability of Trump's trade tactics. The government has already limited foreign steel imports and prioritized Canadian-made steel and lumber for federal projects, signaling a broader push for economic independence. Carney's proactive approach is especially important as Canada prepares to renegotiate the CUSMA agreement. Public consultations are underway to ensure the new deal avoids the kind of chaos these tariffs have triggered. And while maintaining open dialogue with Trump, Carney is standing firm. With a global reputation as a seasoned economic leader, respected for his time at the Bank of England and trusted by world leaders, Carney offers Canada a steady hand in uncertain times. His calm, calculated strategy may just be the antidote to Trump's economic upheaval. While Trump is busy burning bridges, Prime Minister Mark Carney is forging new ones. He's expanding Canada's global partnerships with countries like the European Union, Japan, and Indonesia, using Canada's wide network of free trade agreements to diversify exports and reduce reliance on the U.S. Foreign Affairs Minister, Anita Anand, acknowledged that shifting away from the fact that 75 to 80% of Canada's exports go to the U.S. won't happen overnight, but emphasized that the government is fully committed to long-term trade diversification. Meanwhile, Trump's tactics are standing on shaky legal ground. His use of Section 232 of the Trade Act to impose tariffs is facing serious scrutiny. 2 lower courts have already ruled against his broader reciprocal tariffs, and now the issue is headed for the Supreme Court. By invoking national security to justify tariffs on Canadian furniture, Trump is stretching the law and his credibility to the breaking point. What's even more revealing is how Trump's tariff proclamation offers leniency to some countries, like the UK, which is capped at 10%, and the EU and Japan at 15%, while deliberately excluding Canada. This kind of selective favoritism flies in the face of the spirit of the Canada-US-Mexico agreement. It shows Trump's true colors. He keeps deals when they benefit him and breaks them when he wants to punish close allies. Ironically, this aggressive posture is only strengthening Carney's position. Trump's tariffs, and even his inflammatory suggestion that Canada should become the 51st U.S. state, have stirred a wave of Canadian pride and boosted Carney's political momentum. After trailing in the polls, his Liberal Party pulled off a victory in the recent federal election, widely seen as a public rejection of Trump's bullying. In a bold Oval Office statement, Carney declared, "Canada is not for sale, and it won't be for sale, ever." That line struck a chord across the country and sparked a groundswell of national support. In trying to weaken Canada, Trump may have created his strongest rival yet. Carney now leads with a clear mandate to resist U.S. intimidation. His broader economic strategy includes a $5 billion strategic response fund to support businesses impacted by U.S. tariffs, along with training and reskilling programs for 50,000 affected workers, initiatives rolled out during the election as a direct response to Trump's trade actions. In stark contrast, Trump continues to boast about the revenue his tariffs bring into the government, ignoring the fact that it's American consumers who are footing the bill. His policies are inflating prices, shaking markets, alienating allies, and failing to deliver the economic wins he promised. The difference between the two leaders couldn't be clearer. Trump's tariffs look more like a desperate attempt to appear strong than a well-planned strategy. They reveal a dependence on conflict over collaboration and intimidation over leadership. Carney, on the other hand, is taking a calculated, forward-thinking approach, turning a crisis into an opportunity for growth. As he said during a speech in Mississauga, Ontario, "We know we need to act now, invest now, precisely when it's hard." While Trump tears down, Carney builds. While Trump isolates, Carney connects. The world is watching, and the contrast between a bully and a true leader has never been more obvious. Trump's tariff tantrums are already backfiring, and Carney's calm, resilient leadership is proving that real strength lies not in destruction, but in building a future that can weather the storm.